Hi Charlie, welcome to the 61st day of my video polling experiment where I break down and analyze the LinkedIn poll that I posted last week and that closed this morning. Last week, I decided to ask the poll question, do you think your financial information is secure? There were three answer choices, yes, no, and maybe. Now this poll only got 75 votes, which is quite good, but it is slightly below my average performance of 80 to 85 votes per poll. And while I was trying to get a read on how many people truly think that all the companies that they're sharing their credit card information with are truly doing a good job protecting that data and ensuring it doesn't fall into the hands of individuals with nefarious intentions, I think I understand why this poll didn't perform perhaps as well as I would have liked, because it is something that is very specific to finance and economics. It's not necessarily something more relatable and lighthearted, like do you prefer coffee or tea? What do you think of energy drinks? Those kinds of polls that are a little bit related to pop culture, even a little funny, snarky in a way, those tend to be more popular. But my more serious polls about, say, financial information, they tend to be hit or miss more of the time. Yes, there are some times when I'm asking about how you think the economy is doing, and that poll got 153 votes. But there are other times when I'm asking about if you think your financial information is secure, and you only get 75 votes. So it's just part of the LinkedIn polling game. Some topics will be more popular than others. There are a lot of factors that go into whether a poll gets 100 votes or 50 votes. So just wanted to kind of give my 2 cents on that. So anyway, onto the distribution of this poll. 12% of the 75 voters said that yes, they think their financial information is perfectly secure. 57% of them said no, they don't think their financial information is secure, and 31% of them said maybe my financial information is secure. Now, I was really surprised that a majority of people didn't think their financial information was secure, because they've probably given that financial information to, say, a bank, or basically any retail store they go to where they pay with a credit card, basically any establishment where they've used a credit card. All of those entities technically have access to your financial information, and you're kind of just hoping that they don't use that information for less than stellar purposes. But I suppose that is a bit of a trade-off. There is a convenience to being able to just whip out your credit card and pay for something on the spot, and then only have to log into your credit card account and pay off that balance with, say, your earnings from your job, versus back in the old days, 80 or so years ago, when you had to lug around cash for every single transaction. You didn't have the luxury of being able to delay your payment for at least a few weeks, assuming you have to pay your credit card off monthly. You couldn't necessarily carry a balance to the next month if you bought some things that you can't necessarily afford on your current salary or stream of income, but you perhaps could pay off in a couple of months. So there is a convenience factor to using credit cards, but there is a drawback in that you are sharing some pretty sensitive financial information with entities who may or may not have the best cybersecurity programs in place to protect that data. So anyway, onto some statistics about this topic. By 2024, humanity's collective data will reach 394 zettabytes. Now, what is a zettabyte? A zettabyte is 1 followed by 21 zeros. So 394 zettabytes is 394 followed by 21 zeros. That is an astronomical amount of data. It's absolutely inconceivable. I can barely imagine having 1 billion of anything, much less a zettabyte of anything, which just goes to show how much information has been created just in the past 25 or so years, when the internet has been around for people to share and create information. The cost of cybercrime is expected to hit $23 trillion in 2027. This is 2.7 times more expensive than the cost of cybercrime in 2022, which was $8.4 trillion. It takes an average of 258 days to contain a data breach, which to me sounds like a very long time, because say if a dam breaches, or your toilet floods, or your washing machine floods, you probably don't want to be spending 258 days trying to contain that breach of water. But I suppose in cybercrime there are a lot of moving parts, and to really secure an organization after a data breach like that, it requires a lot of effort from a lot of individuals, and trying to navigate cybersecurity systems that may be a bit piecemeal, maybe a bit out of date. So perhaps this lag time makes sense. Also, interestingly, 68% of data breaches involve a non-malicious human element. Now, that is a pretty large majority of these kinds of situations, and I suppose that means that, the human receives a dubious link, and they perhaps a bit foolishly click on that link and end up exposing their entire organization to a virus. Or someone who is well-intentioned, they receive an email message or a text message from someone who sounds like the CEO or sounds like the supervisor or sounds like a high-ranking individual in the organization, and they just follow those instructions, assuming that that individual is actually who they say they are, when in reality they're just transferring money or sharing sensitive information with bad actors. So perhaps that's why most of these companies have regular cybersecurity trainings for their employees to kind of warn them to look out for certain common tactics that bad actors use to gain access to the organization, as well as to avoid giving out that kind of information to someone who appears to be trustworthy but truly isn't. So anyway, Charlie, thank you for listening to my little spiel about financial information security, otherwise known as cybersecurity. I know you don't have much information about yourself online, except maybe some cute pictures of yourself because you're absolutely adorable. So lucky you, but the majority of us have at least some financial information floating around on the internet. And whether that information is fully secure is up for debate. We usually don't necessarily know how secure information truly is until, unfortunately, we are hacked and, our credit score is tanked and money is taken out of our accounts, all of those awful things. So anyway, Charlie, thank you for helping me raise awareness about this issue and to kind of warn everyone to be vigilant and not be giving out your personal financial information to someone you don't know or trust. Anyway, Charlie, I just wanted to, before I go, show you the poll as it appears on LinkedIn, just to prove that I'm not making this distribution or poll question up. Here is the poll as it appears on LinkedIn. As you can see, it got 75 votes. The most popular answer choice was by far no, with 57% of the votes, so a majority of people don't think their financial information is secure, which is understandable considering the prevalence of cybercrime and data breaches and getting hacked and having your accounts wiped out and having your personal financial information be compromised and needing to go through that whole shebang in order to ensure that your financial information is no longer at risk. Anyway, Charlie, thank you again for listening to my, I suppose, mini rant about various trending topics, and stay tuned tomorrow for my 60-second video poll analysis. Thank you and have a wonderful day.